Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of TEDXcellence, the show in which I try to prove to myself that the world is a sane place. Yeah, just imagine. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday. Suspicious Sunday. Nice relaxing day so far. Why would I want to go and ruin it? Well, because entertainment is where you find it. And who has found me today for that kind of entertainment? Why, Mike R., hello. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Point Curation, hello. Aloysius Fudpucker, hello. Chat Mort, hello. Red Chaostry, hello. No One Nowhere, hello. Go Old Guy Gamer, hello. Mr. Joe Star, hello. Keeverdam, hello. Assassin of the Gray, hello. His Kitten, hello. And then I have to chat jump because chat jumps. Joys of Sorrow, hello. Mr. E, hello. Chat Mort, hello. If I didn't already say hello, did I say hello? Well, you get two hellos if I did do hello. Hello, Chat Mort. Crimson Tiger, hello. Richo8181, hello. The gayest person on YouTube, thank you so much. Eins bitte. Ja, we go on an adventure together. Ja. I'm Austrian or something. Ja. Zan Wild, hello. Brutus, hello. Fernanda, hello. Lurking Gopher, hello. Non-Vitae Rex, hello. Roger Reynolds, hello. Pinkalo the Driving Ape Man, hello. That one servant of Satania, hello. And the chat jumped again. Green Death, hello. NC Metal, hello. Brad Young, hello. Shio Gorath, hello. Robert Lapine, hello. Star Saver, hello. Ms. Slim 1, Guten Tag. Chicago Mike, hello. Ecto Merc, hello. Jim Beam, hello. And I think that's everybody, at least at present. If I missed you, apologize. Hopefully I'll get to you later in a question or some other thing. But all that is preamble, everyone. Yes, today I couldn't do better than the actual title of the presentation for the thumbnail because it was just too perfect. And since I've taken to using old TV shows and or movies to sort of frame my thumbnails of late, I thought, I Spy. I remember that show exists. I never watched it, but I know it exists, or it existed. So I found that little logo, and I thought, that's too perfect. That works out too well. But yes, the official title of this presentation, I Spy Something White. I Spy Something White. Yes. Lady Gopher, thank you so much for the Dogcat Fox. Little happy dancing, lovely Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox. Keeverdam says, R.I.P. Olivia de Havilland. Yes, the star of Gone with the Wind has passed away at like 102 or 8 or something. Just crazy. I didn't even know she was still alive. So there you go. Yeah, the last several days I've seen several celebrity deaths between her and John Saxon and I think Peter Green. Just one of those years, I suppose. Might as well be. 104, says everybody. Okay, 104. 103, 103. Do I hear 105? 105, 105, 105, 105, 105, 105. Okay. Anyway, guys, have your bingo cards ready. Link is in the description. I have a feeling this one is going to be a brain melter. Oh, Pepperjack, save me. Won't you save me? All right. So as usual, I'll start off with a few seconds for sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we will proceed.
My daughter and I were recently playing a fierce game of I Spy.
Dun, dun, dun. A fierce game of I Spy. Well, I spy with my little eye bad posture. She's slouching pretty severely there. Or is that just me? Maybe that's just the angle. Just looks like it. I don't know. You guys hear that okay? I can hear loud and clear. Saw that one coming. Blah, blah. Okay, good. Yeah, and by the way, the original sound on this was atrocious. I mean, I think I cleaned it up pretty good, but it was pretty bad. So hopefully that maintains itself. When I adjust the sound, I only listen to like a couple of seconds worth of audio just so I can get a level set on where it's at. So I haven't listened to any of this except for maybe like 4 or 5 words in a row, so I don't even know what that meant. But okay, anyway, all of that aside, let's really begin. A game of I Spy with her daughter.
She said, I spy something white. I said, well, is it that guy's socks over there, or that lady's purse, or what about that sign over there across the field?
Okay, well, since we're right beginning, I'm going to do free space and family anecdote on the bingo card. I have a feeling that several more of these are going to be circled before we're done. Hell, before we're probably halfway through, but at least we got those 2 out of the way. So free space, family anecdote. And also anecdote that probably never happened. We might be coming up on it already. Let's find out.
I made 20 or so guesses and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't see what she saw. But I'm hoping that after this talk, it'll be quite obvious to you.
So your daughter, and I'm just jumping here, your daughter's the racist? You obviously, what? Okay. I don't even know where we're at. And we're not even 30 seconds. We are 30 seconds into this. Jesus.
Let me make it obvious.
Yeah. Why don't you?
A couple years ago, my family and I walked to a park nearby our house. This is a park that we frequent fairly often, probably once a week.
Yeah. Okay.
But this particular evening, I decided that I wanted to exercise while the kids played on the playground.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that. I have a bad feeling about this, guys.
My daughter, who was 3 at the time.
3 at the time. Okay. And did she say how old she was when they did this game of I Spy at the beginning? Did I miss that part? Okay. Well, anyway, she was 3 at the time at this park. Okay.
Had other plans, which involved mommy not leaving her.
Yeah.
And she promptly started crying and throwing a fit.
Yeah, she's 3.
I decided to continue on my futile exercise journey.
Futile exercise journey. So you were running away from your kid, 3-year-old? I'm trying to imagine the logistics of this this experience, and it's very odd.
And my husband stayed at the playground.
Oh, okay. Okay, you didn't abandon your child.
Unbeknownst to me, someone saw my husband with the crying 3-nager.
3-nager? 3-nager. I have never heard of that before. I'm not inclined to call that a new buzzword or buzz phrase, but have you guys heard that before? 3-nager? That's a new one to me.
And perceived a threat and called the police.
Okay, well, and you know why that was? Because he's a man. Because he's a man. Are you going to rail against the sexism of the world, the paranoia? Okay. Are you going to tell me it's because he was white?
The police came.
Yeah.
They questioned my husband.
Yeah.
They asked him where he lived.
Yeah.
If these were, in fact, his children.
Oh, there was more than one child? I thought you just had the daughter. Okay.
And where their mother was.
Okay.
The police officer was polite.
Yeah.
But reported that someone had called in a concern.
Yeah. So a Karen clutched her pearls and called the cops on a dad sitting in a park with his kids. Okay. Well, this is the world we live in.
And there are many other similar stories. One day I was out to lunch with my kids. I was paying the bill, and I turned around to see that my son was being ushered out the door with another family who looked more like him. I dropped my wallet.
What?
I ran out the door and said, "No, wait, he's mine."
What? I've only had one sip of my drink. Have I lost my grip on reality now? The restaurant was kidnapping your kid. Looked more like them. I am missing some context here, and I'm about to circle anecdote that probably never happened because I'm just, what?
My kids are frequently asked if they are adopted.
Okay, why? Why? I mean, okay, is your... I don't know. Why?
Or, is that your mom?
Okay, are your kids mixed race or something? Is that the punchline here?
One day, I was out shopping as a new mom, and someone actually asked me if I left my child in the sun.
Ooh. Okay. Do we believe that one? You know what? Depending, I don't know. At this point, I'm so discombobulated, and we're only 2 minutes in. I don't know.
Now, of course, the piece I didn't tell you about these stories is that although I'm white, my husband is black.
Oh my God! Surprise! Okay, so Karen called the cops on your husband and your daughter. So even though people ask you if your children are adopted, this person called the cops on your husband because she did, or they, whoever it was, did not believe that he belonged with that child. So either way you look at it, nobody wins. Is that it? Okay.
And we are raising 2 biracial children.
I kind of got that. Okay. And
our benign trip to the park that evening was once again another reminder of our race and how it affects our social environment.
No, it's a reminder that someone was being a Karen. But, okay, tell me more.
These stories taken together demonstrate that race has always been salient to my children.
Okay. Why? Why do you promote it? Why do you dwell on it? If people on the outside of your family or your social life are making it a big deal or something, okay, that's their problem. Why do you need to do the same?
It's something that we talk about on a regular basis.
I'm not surprised.
But that was not the case for me.
Really? It wasn't? Why is that?
While I consider myself fairly racially conscious,
I
was much older when I first thought about my race.
Gosh, what a wonderful moment that must have been too. Your race, your skin color that determines so much. And of course, you're teaching your children that their skin color determines so much. Okay.
I have a vivid memory of attending a predominantly black Baptist church.
Black Baptist church? Okay. Why? I mean, you didn't notice something then that was different? I thought you said you were much older. I'm missing something? Of course I'm missing something.
With my youth group, scanning the congregation and thinking, whew, I am white.
Wow, that sounds like a you problem, doesn't it? Yep.
But that was probably in middle school.
Yeah.
My son, on the other hand, could articulate his identification as brown as soon as he had language.
Wow, your children are so much smarter than you are, I guess.
As soon as he knew which crayon to pick from the box.
Okay.
Now, I should also mention I am a social psychologist who studies race.
Of course you are. You're very, very focused on race. Very focused on race. Very focused on race. All right. Thank you, Bacall the Driving Ape Man. Want to bet that her husband's family talks massive shit behind her back. Anyone in an interracial family knows. I don't know. I don't know. She makes race so important. Like, okay, obviously you subconsciously chose your husband for some particular reason, right? I mean, it's not that your husband is just a good person and someone that you fell in love with for who he is. You have to consider the possibility that there's something else going on in the psychology of race. Don't you? I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. Hello, Kyle.
I talk about race and racial identity and interracial relationships in my classes and in my research.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
But I don't think that I really understood the impact of my race until I saw it through the lens of my children's eyes.
Okay, tell me more about the impact of your race and what that has to do with anything. Instead of teaching your children that skin color is about as determinative a factor as hair color or eye color, tell us more about what your race and your children's race, skin color, has to do with anything.
Shelley Talkluck discusses in her book, Witnessing Whiteness, that whites are like fish.
Oh.
They do not realize the water that they swim in.
Oh, yes. The water that they swim in is white privilege and or white supremacy. Right? They just don't notice it. It's invisible. They just move through it without any kind of effort, any kind of obstruction.
Our society is normed on white privilege.
Dun, dun, dun. White privilege on the bingo card. Where did I put it last? I forget now. White supremacy, white privilege down in the corner. Okay. Got that one circled. Let's see. What do we have on the bingo card? Self-vilification or wretchedness. Well, she hasn't gone full bore yet. I assume she will shortly. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. No one, nowhere. Very, very generous of you. To the scribe of our times. Also Pepperjack. Thank you, no one, nowhere. It's very generous of you. Let's see. Takes credit, blame for something done. Not yet. Not specifically. Equity. She hasn't said it that I know of. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. I have a feeling we're going to get there, but we'll see. Gratuitous pausing for effect. Not yet. Patriarchy. No. Leaves out vital context. Well, she eventually came around and explained herself, so I'll leave that one blank for now. School to prison pipeline. No. A list. Not yet. Toxic. No. Anecdote that probably never happened. I don't know. Given the context that she provided, maybe. There are jerks out there, I guess. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Three-nager, or whatever it was. No, she's unless she comes back to that or something. Feminism, not yet, or if at all. Marginalization, not yet. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. I'm going to give it some more time. Word salad, not yet. Wage gap, no. Speaker should not be in current occupation or position. Well, if she is a social psychologist focusing on race, then she's perfect for the job. Benevolent condescension, we'll probably get there. Systemic institutional, probably. Plays victim, maybe. And cultural appropriation, not yet. Thank you, Point Curation. Mom, why are we here? That's easy, honey. I'm here to talk about race, and you're here to give me clout. Ooh. She wouldn't be using her children as props or something, would she? I don't know. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. I say it at the end of every show, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Our laws, our policies, our expectations. And so whites can and therefore avoid thinking and acknowledging their race.
Yeah, if only everybody could do that. If only everybody could just not make race a value factor in life. If only everyone could. But no, that's wrong. That's wrong. We all need to really focus on race. Really focus. It's very, very important.
I would like to talk to you about developing a healthy racial identity.
Oh, a healthy racial identity. Well, golly gee whiz. Tell me how to develop a healthy racial identity. Tell me how to develop a sense of myself that is focused around my skin color, because my skin color obviously says something about who I am, doesn't it? You know, racial identitarianism is what we need to be focusing on these days. Separating ourselves, categorizing each other on the basis of our skin color. Valuing each other on the basis of our skin color, identifying ourselves on the basis of our skin color as though it says something about who we are. You're right. You're right. I need to expand my education on this. That's why I watch these things, so I can learn. I can learn how to think correctly about race. Thank you, teleperson. Happy National Coffee Milkshake Day, everybody. A coffee milkshake? Ooh. I mean, to each their own. I don't drink coffee. But a nice chocolate milkshake. I could go for one of those right about now.
To acknowledge that water that we swim in.
Uh-huh.
But I also want to warn you, it's not easy.
Oh, it's not easy? Is this going to be an uncomfortable conversation?
Many people don't want to think about what it means to be white.
Oh, what does it mean to be white? Okay, well, I'm dying to know. What does it mean to be white? I'm backing up a little bit because I cut her off. But what does it mean to be white? We had a lot of that yesterday in our other TEDx talk, where the speaker talked about meaning and then never defined anything, or not everything at least. So what does it mean to be white? What does it mean to be me here in America versus Vladimir Putin in Russia versus, I don't know, some guy in South Africa? What does it mean to be white?
Many people don't want to think about what it means to be white, to own their whiteness. We avoid the topic because we don't want to appear biased or prejudicial.
She said bias, not unconscious bias. I'm going to be strict on this one. Yeah, we don't want to be biased or prejudicial, right? And so in order to not be biased or prejudicial, we need to focus on skin color and assess ourselves and each other on the basis of skin color. Is that what I'm hearing? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
And of course, we may stumble along the way.
Uh-huh.
But it is still necessary.
Why is it necessary? Okay, there are a couple things that she's brought up now that I personally need her to expand upon. Firstly, meaning. What does it mean to be white? And secondly, why is it necessary to focus on one skin color? I hope to get these answers so I can at least try to understand her logic in defiance of all others.
I also want to encourage you to not only acknowledge the water that we swim in, but to make some action and take waves.
What? Make action and take waves. Was that an intentional reversal of phrasing, or did you just stumble because you're white?
Let me ask you a difficult question.
Oh, that's my favorite kind of question.
When did you first think about your race?
Well, the earliest memory I have regarding race was the first time that my little sister, and she had to have been 3, maybe 4, and so I was, depending on what part of the year it was, I was either 4 or 5. And the first time she ever saw a black person, I don't have a recollection of when I first saw a black person. I don't know. But when my sister first saw a black person, her reaction, and I remember this vividly for whatever reasons, one of those things where like, why do I remember that of all things that far back in my personal lifetime? I don't know, but it's one of the things that's just stuck with me. The very first time she saw a black person, she clapped her hands together, became very, very happy, and said, "Ah, chocolate people." And that was it. That was about as far as it ever went, as far as my considerations on race. I didn't think about it when I was a kid. I had students in my classes who were all over the place. I like there was Asian kids and black kids. God, I just all shades, all colors, whatever. It didn't register to me that it should matter at all when I was growing up as a kid. And the closest I ever came to thinking about it was, oh, my sister thinks that chocolate people are things that make her happy. That was about it. You know, it's completely innocent. It wasn't until I got older that I was told about the evils of the history in this country and elsewise. I learned about Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. Now, it's one of those things where it's like an unavoidably depressing history. But when I was growing up, at least in the little bubble world that I was living in the aftermath of the Civil Rights Movement, an effort and a notion and a principle to move past assessing people on the basis of race. That's how I grew up, personally. You know, and boy, oh boy, have we taken massive strides backwards in the last several years, haven't we? Our speaker being a living example, in my opinion, of one of those strides.
Can you identify an age?
4 or 5, I believe.
A conversation?
Chocolate people.
Maybe an experience?
Seeing my sister ridiculously happy, which, you know, always makes me happy. So I was probably happy, or at least entertained. I don't know.
While traveling, with friends, with family, at church. If you are a majority member.
A majority member? Oh, is there a club I'm supposed to have a card to signify my membership? A majority member of what?
Like me.
Oh, you're a majority member? Wow. How very highly you must think of yourself. With a smug / frowny face on. Yeah, okay. I'm going to circle self-vilification / wretchedness. She's obviously the bad person for being what she is. And also benevolent condescension, because anything which is not her, by her own estimation, obviously is disadvantaged. I know I might be making a couple of stretches in a little preemptive there, but I just get that feeling. So
the answer is probably in your late childhood or adolescence.
Not for me, no. No, it wasn't.
Did your race impact your childhood?
No.
Again, if you're a majority member, the answer is probably no, or not that I remember.
Oh, so it's not that it didn't, it's because I'm white that I don't think about it. It's not that I didn't care or I didn't even have a notion of assessing people that way when I was growing up. No, I'm just a majority member. And so, all right, now you're accusing me of things that I did not do. I really hate being accused of things or held to account for things I had nothing to do with. It's one of my pet peeves.
But that's likely not the case if you are a minority member.
A minority member. Right. Okay. Yeah. Benevolent condescension. Let's see. Now I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for more definitive circles to make. Oh, got to hit the button.
Research indicates that racial identity develops at a much younger age for minorities, as early as age 7 or 8.
What was it for your children? When did you begin to develop their racial identities for them? I'm curious to know.
We are not colorblind.
Yeah. Well, if only we could be, right? Right? If only we could be. Oh, sorry, if only you could be. But no, you have to make sure that we're always thinking about race. Got it.
We do not transcend race.
We could. We really could. We were getting pretty good there for a while when I was growing up. We really could. But Let's not have aspirations beyond our means, shall we? No, let's just give up and brand ourselves with the sins that will never fade.
And while you may have been taught at some point that America is the melting pot and we see people as people, we also know that social categorization is a natural process.
Yes, social categorization is a natural process. Are you equating race with societal stratification now? Or telling me that that's how I see the world?
Our brains are hardwired to categorize people into groups.
Well, groups.
And so as you walk through your hallways of your schools and your workplaces and your malls, you are categorizing people into groups.
You know what I'm thinking now. Okay, well, tell me more, psychic lady. What's my favorite color?
Old versus young. Black versus white. Oh,
so just noticing things of people is me categorizing them. Are you saying that categorizing someone in my mind, or just recognizing or observing some aspect on the surface, is me then judging them inherently? These things that say nothing about who they are? You're telling me that's what I'm doing? Oh, okay, great. Thanks for letting me know how I think.
Male versus female.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you are categorizing into groups of people who are like me and people who are not like me.
Oh, tell me more about how you think about the world, please. I'm just fascinated with this live action mental exercise of yours.
And race is one of the most common identifiers.
Oh, identifiers. Sure. Are you going to bring up, like, a police report? We have a report of a male black or male white or male Asian, because it's a signifying descriptor of what you are, but not who you are.
This in-group versus out-group categorization reinforces the principle of conferred dominance that Peggy McIntosh first discussed when she was defining white privilege.
Peggy McIntosh, yes, the invisible knapsack. Tell me more about the color of Band-Aids, and also the weasel words contained within the invisible knapsack, like can be pretty well assured, etc. There's actually a TEDx talk starring Peggy McIntosh that I have sort of tucked away for a special day. I may get to that at some point.
The idea that certain groups would have positions of power over another.
Do you have power over your husband? I mean, are you the dominant member? Are you the majority member in your own family? Even over your own husband and your own children? I mean, you are white and they're all not. Is that how you see yourself in your own family? I'm curious.
McIntosh was originally looking at male privilege, and it was only then that she realized as a white female that she also experienced another form of privilege.
My God. You mean like women are cared for and sought after by men and protected sort of as a natural instinct, that kind of privilege? There's a more crude term for it, but this is a family show presently, so I'll avoid it.
That based on her race. In her seminal article, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack.
Tell me about Band-Aid colors.
She discusses many unearned entitlements.
Tell me about Band-Aid colors.
That one may experience as a result of privilege.
May experience. If it is a privilege, there is no doubt, is there? Oh, but no, may experience. Okay. Tell me what I might encounter if I'm white, but am not guaranteed to encounter if I'm white. And by the way, that's still a privilege. Somehow.
There are many forms of privilege.
Band-Aid colors?
That based on our race or our gender.
Like?
Or our age.
Like?
or occupation or religion.
Like?
So I know that as a white female, as I shop, I'm not going to be followed by security.
Really? You know that to be a fact. You know that. Okay, so you believe in white supremacy. Got it.
I can look through a textbook and see people who look like me.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. Tell me more. Tell me how this completely advantages your life. Tell me more.
I can voice a concern at work and not experience retaliation.
Oh, okay. White superiority, white supremacy. She believes in it, everyone. She believes that she possesses these powers. She is immune. Tell me about the Band-Aids. Please tell me you're going to say the Band-Aids.
I can take a crying 3-year-old to the park and no one's going to call the police.
But they will usher your child away with the wrong family. Did I not hear her give that very interesting anecdote earlier? How she was not associated with her own child? Where was the white privilege then, might I ask? Or are you just not going to acknowledge that one?
How would you complete this sentence?
I don't know.
I am...
Iron Man.
What?
Iron Man.
Whites typically do not list their race as a self-description.
God, how dare they not identify themselves first and foremost by their skin color? Man. White people just, they don't care about race. It doesn't become some kind of big thing to dwell on. That's terrible. Really terrible.
But blacks do.
Oh, okay. All blacks. Oh, okay. Oh, tell me about how all blacks operate, how all blacks think. Is that how your husband thinks? Complete this sentence. I am... How about your name? How about an actual identifier? How about something that is actually unique to you? Is that an unhealthy way to go about it? Is that an unhealthy way to think about yourself as an individual, as yourself, and not part of some homogenous skin mind or something?
And research supports the same finding for other marginalized groups.
Marginalized on the bingo card. Marginalized. Some research, she hasn't cited any research yet, except for Peggy McIntosh, and I think she mentioned one other person's name in there about the fish. But she hasn't actually cited any research, so. Okay, tell me more.
Women are more likely to list their gender than are men.
Because gender's really important too, huh? I'm learning so much.
Gays are more likely to list their sexuality than are those who are not gay.
Okay. If you say so, I'll just have to take your word for it, that everybody considers themselves first and foremost as non-determinative descriptors. It just has to be true.
So how do we own our whiteness without coming off as a white nationalist?
Honestly, I have no idea, except the whole nationalist thing has nothing to do with it. Here's the thing. Nationalist has nothing to do with it. If you're focusing on race, what you are doing is white identity, racial identitarianism. Where you are in the world is irrelevant. Now, if you're equating the phrase white nationalist with white supremacist or something, okay, you're not being accurate, but you're a social studies psychologist, so what do I know? Anyway, nationalism has got nothing to do with it. You're talking about race. Race knows no border. So if you're saying that white identity is first and foremost, or should be in our minds for some reason, then a person in Texas is on the same page as a person in Russia. It doesn't matter. The grand common denominator is skin color. Nationalism doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. White nationalist. You mean white identitarian? Yeah, okay. Maybe that's what you mean. White supremacist? Right? Racial segregationist, maybe? Maybe? Something like that? Okay.
Tim Wise.
Oh, Tim Wise! Of course you went to Tim Wise. Boy, Peggy McIntosh, Tim Wise. If you bring up Robin DiAngelo, oh, we'll have a hat trick.
Is an active anti-racist activist.
Oh, he's totally anti-racist. Tim Wise, oh man. If ever there was an anti-racist, Tim Wise, he's an anti-racist, all right.
And he writes in the introduction of his book, White Like Me, that only by coming to realize how thoroughly racialized our white lives are, can we begin to see the problem as ours.
Only by coming to realize how thoroughly racialized our white lives are. Who's racializing our quote-unquote white lives right now? How does my white life compare to the guy down the street who's homeless? You know? Or the guy up the street who's a zillionaire? White lives. Our lives are equitable because of our skin color? Oh, okay. Thank you, Tim Wise. Only by coming to realize how thoroughly racialized our white lives are can we begin to see the problem as ours. The problem. What is the problem? What problem? What is the problem?
And begin to take action to help solve it.
I can't solve a problem unless I know what the problem is. What is the problem?
By remaining oblivious to the racialization, we also remain oblivious to the injustice that stems from it.
Yeah, I think it is an injustice to evaluate me on the basis of my race. You're right. You're absolutely right. To racialize me in the absence of considering anything else about me is an injustice. Can you imagine a world where people would assess people first and foremost on their skin color, categorize them, dismiss them, elevate them, whatever? Can you imagine racializing someone, ignoring everything else about them, ignoring their individuality, ignoring their humanity, whittling them down just to their skin color? Can you imagine doing that? I'm getting angry. It must be my white fragility.
And we remain paralyzed when it comes to responding to it in a constructive manner. So how do we overcome this obliviousness?
Oh, God, I don't know. I guess just spending every day focusing on race. I guess that's the only way, right? Make race really important in every conversation, every interaction, everything. All right? Live in a race-based society. I guess that's the only solution to the problem, whatever the problem is.
Janet Helms is a well-known scholar in the area of racial identity development.
Janet Helms. Let me write this down because I would love to find something, a TEDx or a lecture or something, from someone who is a racial identity expert. Because, in such flowery language, in previous years, in my youth, thanks to the book The Gathering Storm by Morris Dees, the now apparently disgraced member of the Southern Poverty Law Center, regardless, I would have thought an expert in racial identity were racists.
And she argues that whites transition through distinct stages as they develop their racial identity.
Oh, stages? That sounds like a list.
Initially, we are unaware of our race or the impact of racial stereotypes.
You know what? I'm going to circle a list because stages, she's going to go down a bullet point list here. So a list has now been circled. And now I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Patience, scribe. Patience.
And as we become more aware, we also start to feel guilty.
Mm.
But a fully developed white racial identity
Yeah.
resists prejudices and acknowledges the impact of our race.
Resists prejudices. You are evaluating yourself as reflexively superior to everyone who is not like you, and then diminishing yourself because of that in order to understand the obvious plight of those who are not like you. And you're dispensing with prejudices. Did I just hear it? I'm gonna back up just a smidge. I want to make sure that I heard that correctly, because I'm a bit confuzzled.
As we become more aware, we also start to feel guilty. But a fully developed white racial identity resists prejudices and acknowledges the impact of our race.
How can you not have a prejudice if you're acknowledging that your race has an impact on other people for no other reason than because you are that race? How can you not then assess yourself, other white people, other people who are not white, as having a certain experience, a certain quality of existence, unlike your own, simply based on skin color? How does that work, might I ask? Word salad. Word salad.
Helms also argues that developing a racial identity is hard work.
Oh, yeah, it almost like it goes against some sort of natural modern instinct or something, doesn't it? Dismissing everything else about yourself and focusing purely on a factor of your makeup that you had no choice in and says nothing about who you are. Imagine that. The hard work of making yourself a racist.
It is cognitively taxing.
Why is that? Why is that? Is that a hallmark of something that's healthy? Is that how I'm supposed to understand that? Oh, you're going against your natural instinct as a white person, so it's obviously going to be work. Okay.
So this isn't a survey that I can complete, or a mail-in genetics test or ancestry inventory online.
What?
It's not a conversation that I can have or a competency I can list on my resume.
What?
But rather the steadfast attention that I give to my race and my social interactions.
So, you approach every social interaction first and foremost by assessing your own race as compared to the person you're speaking to. Is that what I'm to understand? Is that how you move through the world? Is that how you communicate with your own family? Because I have no reason not to believe that's how you operate.
And we may stumble along the way.
Like going, why am I doing this to myself? That kind of stumble.
I still get slapped in the face with my privilege sometimes.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes, really? Sometimes you get slapped in the face with your... Sometimes. But I mean, you're white. Why wouldn't your privilege be just constantly slapping you in the face backwards and forwards like some kind of, I don't know, fleshy flogging type thing? Okay, that was a bit too rated M for mature, but you know what I'm going for. If you do.
I recently went to the store to return something with my husband.
Okay, another anecdote. You know what? I'm also going to circle plays victim. I mean, she's making herself out to be a victim of other people's whatevers. because she's white, even though she was also privileged and her son was taken from her by a restaurant or something. I just feel that's fitting. And, at this point, I'm also going to circle leaves out vital context. She hasn't given us any of this research. She hasn't cited any of this research that supposedly backs her up. She's name dropped some individuals that sound a little suspect in their credibility. So all we need now is for her to bring up equity. And I'm going to be very strict here. She has to say the word. She has to say the word. I've been very forgiving on some of these circles so far. But in this instance, to reach the bingo, she has to say the word. So no arguments otherwise. If you hear the word, give me some kind of sense of a timestamp, if you can. We're currently at 10 minutes, 10 seconds into her talk.
I waltz right in, mind you, in an unmarked bag with no receipt.
An unmarked bag with no receipt, and you were going to return an item. You were going to return an item with no receipt. Okay, I'm cataloging this information as this anecdote proceeds.
To the back of the store where the customer service desk was.
Uh-huh.
Only to turn around and see my husband at the beginning of the store with a mortified look on his face. Because as a person of color, he would never walk into a store with merchandise without checking with an employee first.
Are you kidding me? I wish, sort of, that you could all see my face right now, because literally my mouth was hanging open. But I will at least allow for the possibility that maybe my bewilderment is misinformed. Chat, those of you that may have some personal experience with such things, is what she is saying true? Do you have any personal anecdotes, any referential anecdotes, any knowledge of yourself that says that is true? I have come across claims on TEDx's before about things that are specific and or unique to certain demographics that I'd never heard of before. Like, what was it before when the lady was talking about time has a race? People of color time, or colored people time, however she put it. And then people in the chat like, yep, that's a thing. Like, okay. Okay, so Ms. Slim 1, I check at the front also. Most of the stores in my city have a lot of shoplifting. Okay, so our speaker just waltzed in because of the water in which she swims, perhaps? Assassin the Gray Scribe Light, when I have made returns to the stores, I check with an employee at the door. Well, Assassin, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask for your skin color. ERA US Now, Big X to doubt, no receipt, no return, simple. Zio Gold, do you think she's one of the progressives that said that the orcs in D&D are black people? I don't know. Thomas Cleaver, you'd have to be stupid if you have no receipt. It's likely they'll think you stole it. This broad is dumb as fuck. Oh, I said a bad word. No one nowhere. She's not anti-white. She's against others achieving as she was allowed to. James Von Maxwell, especially with no receipt, but if they said anything to her, she'd go all nuclear Karen on them. Functional, it sounds more likely to me, at least, Scribe, that is white women privilege. My wife does that all the time. I get stopped at the door. Oh, okay. Zombie Teddy, skin color doesn't matter in company policy. Okay. So was your husband standing at the front of the door mortified because he was black, or because you marched in without a receipt and had merchandise in a bag that was unmarked and you were going to try to return it for cash or store credit? I don't know. But she says it's because he was black, and a black person would never do that. Got it.
So,
a needle pulling thread.
As we attempt to think intentionally about our race and our privilege.
To think intentionally. It's not subconscious, it's not reflexive, it's not, subversive. We intentionally think about our race. What do you call people who think intentionally about race, about themselves and other people? Gosh, is there a word for that?
Let's make some waves.
Okay.
And WAVES is my acronym for witnessing, action, voice, empathy, and being a student.
Buzzword or buzz phrase. I'm going to circle that now. Her acronym. Now she's taken ownership of it. She's looking for her white fragility moment. Let's hear that again. I just want to make sure I got that down.
WAVES. And WAVES is my acronym for witnessing.
Witnessing. Okay.
Action.
Action. Okay.
Voice.
Voice. Okay.
Empathy.
Empathy. Okay.
And being a student.
Student. Student? Really? I mean, you had such abstract concepts all the way there, and then you get to student? I mean, there's got to be a better word to put into the S spot than that. Something a bit more, I don't know, apropos of the whole thing. Like, I don't know, stupid.
The first step is to witness. Witness that privilege and oppression exist.
Really? Wow, that's a really tough sell because we live in an inequitable world. Golly, I couldn't have imagined that.
We cannot accomplish any social change until we acknowledge our experiences, our affordances, and our racial identity.
I am continually bowled over by just how insidious this talk is.
The second step in making waves is to take action. As you think about your role, you might ask yourself, am I an activist or an advocate?
Am I an activist or an advocate? Why can't are those things mutually exclusive? I mean, if I'm advocating for something, I'm taking action and could be considered an activist. Why would you separate those two concepts as though they are inherently different from one another?
Advocates are those who speak up.
And speaking is action, is it not?
For those who are oppressed.
Advocates are those who speak up for those who are oppressed. Okay.
An activist is someone who makes intentional efforts.
Intentional efforts like speaking up for those who are oppressed? Or are advocates just accidentally doing this? If I could circle word salad more than once, I really would be right now.
But there are ways to be an activist beyond protesting or marching for a cause.
Which are not being an advocate for it. Never mind.
Be mindful of your money.
Be mindful of my money. Okay. In what way?
Patronize Black-owned or gay-friendly businesses.
Oh, well, I'll go with you there. It would be patronizing, wouldn't it? So, tell me again about, doing away with prejudices to assess where I shall spend my money on the orientation and or the race of the person running the business. Yeah, we're living in a world without prejudices at that point, aren't we?
Donate to nonprofit or advocacy agencies.
Which ones? Am I supposed to assess those on the basis of skin color and orientation as well?
Next, use your voice. Talk about race.
That is so disturbing. Just taken all by itself. That is so disturbing. Use your voice. Talk about race. Why? Why? You haven't told us what being white means. You have not told us why it is necessary to do so. Oh my God.
Don't let it be the white elephant in the room.
The white elephant in the room. Don't let race be the white elephant in the room. The white elephant. I think of a white elephant party. It's like, yeah, you bring some random gift or something. The white elephant in the room. Okay.
Discuss it at home.
I don't want to. I don't need to. It means nothing to me.
With your family, with your friends, and your students.
Yes, take the good word out to the heathen. Tell everyone, including your students, about the importance of focusing on race, assessing yourselves, assessing other people, on skin color. Take this message forward. You change the outfit, you change the set dressing, and you're looking at a white nationalist race rally in the 1990s. You really are.
Read books to your children about race and diversity issues. Check on the programming at your workplace or your child's school. And if you think it's not sufficient, join the planning committee.
If it's not sufficient, if we're not sufficiently focused on indoctrinating our children with a racial sense of the world. Gosh, could I be a change agent? Could I be an ally? Boy, oh boy, I would love to be a change agent for that, you know? Gosh.
Call out a behavior that you think is biased.
Okay, you're a racist.
Or discriminatory.
Okay, I'd just be repeating myself.
Remember, our silence is compliance.
Our silence is compliance. You know, I heard that same phrase not too long ago. Silence is compliance. All right, well. You tell that to the next person who says that they were raped and they were too scared to fight back. You go ahead and do that. You just state silence is compliance. Yeah, okay. Well, at least in this instance, in this context, I'm not staying silent. So I guess I'm not complying with you. Are you upset about that? Thank you. This is Kyle. She wants people talking about race because then she makes bank off of studying and talking about race. I honestly hate these people. Well, when she said that her profession, as far as I can tell, that she's an educator, at least by implication, as a social psychology teacher who focuses on race, this is her business. This is her livelihood. But she's perfectly situated to fulfill that job description. So I can't circle speakers should not be in current occupation or position. Now, if you want to make the argument she should not be an educator, given the subject, if she was a general studies teacher, if she was like a high school class teacher or something, and she was saying this stuff, but it rides the line of where that square is defined. So, as always, I will take arguments at the end.
Next, practice empathy.
Practice empathy. I always love empathy as some kind of advisory notion to people. You know, empathy, one of the foundationary building blocks of human civilization. of personal interaction and relation with one another as human beings. Empathy. When people tell me that they're going to promote and or teach empathy, all that they're doing is telling me ahead of time that what they're saying is good without having to sell it to me first. Because anything I might say otherwise, they'll just say, you're not being empathetic. You're not being fully human, is what they're saying. Empathy. It's a sneaky, sneaky way to make an argument.
Acknowledging privilege requires that we imagine what the consequences might be if we were a member of a different social group.
So imagine, A, that race places you into a social group, and B, race determines the quality of one's life, first and foremost. Got it.
If we could take more time to listen to the experiences of others, we would be more likely to recognize that our privilege has shaped our own experiences. Lastly.
I hope it's lastly. You've only got about 2 minutes left, or just a little bit less.
Always be a student.
Okay, what does that mean?
Read, vote, sign online petitions.
What does that have to do with being a student? Voting, signing petitions? Being a student means you are seeking knowledge or to expand your understanding of something. What? You really, really lost it when you tried to come up with a word, an S word for your waves thing, didn't you?
Process, discuss. Think about the books that you read, the TV that you watch, the neighborhoods that you frequent.
On the basis of race, maybe?
Do you consume because they are comfortable, or do they expose a different perspective?
Second guess everything that you like. Become suspicious of everything about yourself. Question the morality of anything you do or think or say in the course of your day, now and forever, if you are the wrong skin color. Got it.
As we strive to be socially conscious, we need to be students in each new environment.
Socially conscious. Socially conscious. Not racially conscious. Trying to intertwine the two things together. Socially conscious. Got it.
Paying attention to the social dynamics and the potential barriers.
Like Band-Aid. You never brought up Band-Aid colors. I'm really disappointed you never brought up Band-Aid colors.
Taken together as we witness, give voice.
You missed action. I remember your acronym better than you. Witness, action, voice, empathy, student. You went from witness to voice. Where's the action?
Practice empathy.
You missed action.
And be a student.
You missed action. Chat, I'm not going to rewind. I'm going to stand on this. I'm going to go all Raymond Burr on this, if you know what that means. Did she or did she not skip over action in her own acronym? Am I pepperjacked out of my mind? Did she skip over action? She went from witness to voice. Yeah. Okay. I'm not crazy. Well, I guess that is remains to be seen. But at least in this instance, I wasn't missing something. She screwed up her own catchphrase. Amazing.
These small waves will assist us in better understanding ourselves and our social environments. So, can you guess what my daughter spied?
Was it you? Did she spy you?
It was me.
Ah! Ah! Wonderful. That's just wonderful. Your daughter, your own daughter, assesses you first and foremost on your skin color. Congratulations. Oh my God. Parent of the year. No, of the year. I'm thinking small. Parent of the millennium. That your daughter sees you first and foremost on the basis of your skin color. Congratulations. You are a true winner.
I am white.
Oh my God! Dun, dun, dun!
And although I am proud that she has the vocabulary and is comfortable talking about race,
why wouldn't she be? Have you heard her mother?
it is once again another example that it is not obvious to many, and it's hard to talk about. We have a social responsibility to acknowledge our race and our privileges. And so I hope that you will join me in making some small waves of your own. Thank you.
I feel a little dead inside. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not being facetious. You know, there's a little center of my stomach, that sort of center of my chest. I just feel like there's a little void there all of a sudden. She's proud of herself for this. She's happy over what her daughter said, over the implications of what her daughter said. This is a good thing. This is something to be promoted. This is something to be encouraged in children. Whereas the furthest my sister ever went was chocolate people. And that was it. And I grew up not really thinking about anything having to do with what somebody looked like. They just, you know, I look different than them. They look different than me. And that means what? I was still friends with them. They were still in the same class as me. They weren't barred from anything in my own mind or otherwise. No, the appropriate thing, the necessary thing, the socially conscious thing is to do away with that kind of common humanity and instead categorize each other intentionally, empathetically, actively categorize one another on the basis of race. Assume the condition of someone's life on the basis of race. Assume a sense of guilt and or superiority of oneself on the basis of race. Does she look down on her husband, I wonder? You know, benevolent condescension. Does she look at her own husband and by extension her own children and think of them as inherent victims, as inherently flawed? You think? I don't know. But let us review the bingo card real quick here. Let me carry that over into the display so you guys can see what I have. That's what I've got so far, guys. Let's go over it while we're here. Okay. What do I have? Well, here's what I haven't circled. Let's go over that. Takes credit, blame for something done by others in their own demographic. I mean, she has assessed herself as a white person, therefore she is guilty and or suspect and everything on the basis of her skin color, so I'm circling that one. Equity, She never said the word, guys. Unless you guys know where she was, she never said it. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. She talked about bias, and the implication was strong about unconscious bias. So I'm going to circle that one. Gratuitous pausing for effect. I didn't notice anything gratuitous, so I can't circle that one. Patriarchy. I mean, she mentioned studies on men versus women, but I can't say that it wasn't firm enough. School to prison pipeline, no. Toxic, no. Anecdote that probably never happened. I could believe her husband stopped short of walking in without checking with someone first, just because he had a reasoned mind, versus this lady that just sort of strolled in thinking she owned the world, because she obviously thinks she does because of her race and her gender. I don't know if it had anything to do with race, but feminism, no. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. This entire talk promoting people to think about race unjustifiably. I'm going to circle that one. Wage gap, she never brought up pay disparity. Speaker should not be in current occupation or position. I mean, as a straight educator, I'd say no. But she is literally, specifically, a social psychologist focusing on race. So technically, she's exactly where she needs to be. Systemic institutional. She never uses the phrases. I mean, I'll take arguments elsewise, but I'm not so sure about that one. Okay, and lastly, cultural appropriation. She never brought that up, even in the abstract, so far as I can tell. So there you go, guys. That's what I've got. We're one away from so many bingos, but we don't have a bingo, is my estimation right now. She didn't say the word equity, and she never brought up school to prison pipeline. So even if you make arguments for other things, we're not going to hit a bingo as far as I can tell. But like I say, I'll take arguments to the contrary. I'll give another couple of minutes and then we'll wrap this up. Assassinated scribe light, anecdote that never happened. Which one? Which one? Tell me the one that you think is the one of all the anecdotes that she gave. Which one is the least believable? And I will assess that. Let's see. Oh, Assassin the Great. The restaurant pushing her son out with a black family is anecdote that never happened. You're right. That one doesn't make any sense. A restaurant ushers a child forward into a different family. Like what? Like the hostess, the waiter, like just grabbed a kid and pushed him along with the family. That the family involved wouldn't say he's not with us or something like that. You're right. That doesn't make any sense. Anecdote that probably never happened. I will circle that one. Sure. Again, it doesn't bring us to a bingo, but for the sake of completion, I will put it on there. Let's see. Kiever Dam. This is just like that other woman, except she's teaching her daughter to hate her own mother rather than herself. Yeah, it really is. She successfully caused her daughter to assess her on the basis of her skin color. What a winner, right? What a winner she is. His kitten scribe light, the 4 squares could be a bingo. Nah, that's not how that works. So far as I know, bingos don't work like clusters. It has to be a line across, diagonally, vertically, horizontally. Unless somebody can show me that is a common rule, and I mean a common rule in bingo, because God knows I haven't gone to a bingo hall in the entirety of my life. I'm not gonna say that one. No one nowhere. She should go to the guillotine for her fashion choices. I'm trying to think right now. I didn't even think about what she was wearing. I most of the time when I'm watching these things, guys, most of the time I'm just kind of looking down at my keyboard, listening to what they're saying. Unless I know they're showing a bunch of slides and things, then maybe I'll look up occasionally. But I don't even know what she was wearing. I'm trying to think about right now. I think she was wearing something pink and or black, maybe, but I don't know. Kiever Dam. Also, her daughter is white because they called the cops on the black dad for attempting kidnapping, but her son is black because a black family attempted to kidnap him. Yeah, it was that one where she talked about privilege. Like, I don't have to worry about what happened to my husband in the park. Well, you have to worry about going to a restaurant, apparently. But she never brought that up again. She's not immune, even though she talks about privilege. So I don't know. Advocatus Diaboli. It is a common rule. Depends on the called game for that round. I don't know. That seems like cheating. That seems kind of cheap to me, doesn't it? I mean, let's see. Resolute Germ. Foursquare is a particular bingo game. Yeah, that's not the game we've been playing this entire time, so I'm not gonna make it now. I think between now and the next one of these that I do, I'm going to change up some of the squares a bit just for variety's sake, and I'll update the link in the description when we get there, because we've done the same card for several episodes now, so I'm going to make some edits, switch some things around, and we'll have a fresh card by the next one. Assassin the Gray. My first experience with race, an older black kid walked up to me on the playground and yelled, "You milk," then punched me in the face. I was around 5. Wow. Okay. That's terrible. Zemgoa, I still suggest that the TED Talk thing be repurposed into a speaker skill improvement educative facility or something. Her entire speech just hurt my brain cells. This talk, I mean, at least as far as when it was posted online, is only 5 months old. We're not looking at something from years ago. We're not looking at antiquated notions. And obviously, in relation to several of the other TEDx's I've done, this is not uncommon thinking. This is not a mindset that isn't currently being promoted over and over and over again. And it is both bizarre and highly disturbing. And I don't know what else to say, you know. I don't know. I mean, I was talking to my sister about this over yesterday when we visited. And I forget how the conversation went, but we were talking, she was talking about all the current madness in the world, the riots and the protests and everything, and some of the speeches being made by people and some of the declarations and so on. And she brought up an example of someone talking about the focus on calling yourself by your race or whatever, you know. And she brought it up, and I think I mentioned this yesterday. She brought it up like it was this shocking new concept, this revelation of a kind, that this is actually being promoted. And of course, for myself, I've been hearing this stuff for years now. You know, it's so bizarre to feel like, you know, you're knowledgeable about such terrible things. And it's also really depressing to watch somebody sort of discover it for themselves now when it's so ingrained. It's been so absorbed into so many places in our world, in business and education and politics. And but it doesn't diminish just how depressing, disturbing it is to hear it fresh, let's say, by someone who's talking in the current moment. And I mean, and I'm going to start, you know, editorializing a little bit. We have to be aware that this is becoming boilerplate argumentation, boilerplate logic in the parts of our world that we wouldn't necessarily suspect it to be, in schools, in business, in politics. I mean, those of us that listen and watch the news every night, we might already have an inkling of this, but like my sister, you know, who's got other things to concern herself with, and I envy her to a certain extent, but it feels like it sneaks up on you, right? Because you don't know that it's out there. You don't know that this is becoming the common wisdom, so to speak. And by the time that you see it, it's already ingrained in so many places, in so many minds. And I don't know. You know, all I hope for myself and all I hope for other people is that they listen to this, they're able to see just how reductive it is. They're able to see the connections to the kind of thinking, the benevolent insidiousness of this kind of thinking, and how it relates to the history that we're always hearing about, but nobody ever seems to want to acknowledge the facts about. So Anyway, not to get too grim. A couple more comments and then I'll wrap this up. Zemgoa, I understand, but I wonder who is letting these people on stage. I think either these people didn't pass certain classes for speaking properly in front of an audience. Okay, so TEDx has a far lower bar for inclusion than a TED Talk. Okay, they're run by local communities. They have their own processes by which they select who's going to get up on stage. And oftentimes it has to do with the theme of the event. Like a TEDx talk will have a theme, or a TEDx event. And they may have 5 or 6 speakers who come up and give speeches on or around that theme, either directly or in the abstract. And so it comes down to who did the people running the show select, also who actually submitted a presentation to be considered, and how their selection process goes. The TEDx talks are more susceptible, I think, classically to ideological filtering than, say, TED Talks. But you could be easily forgiven for thinking otherwise, given some of the TED Talks that we've seen come out of TED lately. So, but yeah, no, like I said, the bar for inclusion is far lower for a TEDx talk than it is for a TED Talk. What that bar is elsewise, I don't know, but I've been doing these for a while now, so anybody's acceptable. Nuke censorship, Scribelight, you beat the TEDx in upvotes and you don't even have 26 million subs. It is really amazing to me, given how many people are subscribed to the TEDx channel, how few views most of their videos get. I mean, setting aside likes, because likes, takes a conscious effort of somebody. By the way, if you haven't liked this video so far, I'd appreciate it if you did. But yeah, given the millions of people who are subscribed to that channel, how, I think this video, when I looked at it, when I first grabbed it, I think it was at like 200-300 views or something like that. And that was like a month or 2 after it was posted. I mean, I've had this sitting in my archive for a while now. I don't even know where it's at right now, but maybe it's thousands of views now. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. Not that it matters, The ideas being promoted are just, they might as well belong in the past. Let's see. And Zemgoa says, I'm seeing 69 likes presently. That probably means larger than that, and I might have to refresh after this. Nuke Censorship says less than 2,400 views. Well, I'll tell you what, save for one video on my channel, I haven't had a video go over maybe a couple of thousand views. And that one video is my and Ranting Monkey's review of G.I. Jane. Currently at 61,000 views, which boggles my mind, but I'm not upset by. I think it's kind of entertaining. But guys, I'm going to wrap this up here because we're coming at the bottom of the hour, and it's a good time to call it even, an hour and a half thereabouts. It's a good time for that. So there's the bingo card as it sits, guys. Let me refresh it one more time for completion. Yep. No bingo today. I'm not going to do Foursquare. Sorry. I'm going to change up the bingo card between now and the next time. Might be a couple of days till I do another one. I think this one kind of took it out of me. But everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for this eye-opening presentation. Thank you all for your attendance. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you all for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to hear more from me or Ranting Monkey or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find all three of us tomorrow night, Monday night, on Satsu 2 Cents' channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for Lords of the Night, where we'll go over the news of the day, news stories you submit, what we've been up to on the internet, and then your questions and comments as usual. And if you like this kind of thing, like I say, please do like it, please do share it, and please do check out my channel. I have plenty of this. Also, I have lots and lots. I have a large library of shorter scripted content going back at least 3 years. A lot of my previous TEDx work is scripted and more concise, let's say. You might enjoy that as well. And if you like this stuff, please do share it. I appreciate that as well. Everyone, have a good rest of your Sunday. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.